In today's episode of the Hexagon Challenge, it is the last game of the first half of the Ligue season, and it's second versus third, Monaco versus Brest. Can we hold on to second spot and put a decent gap between us and the other European contenders? Also, we've got a transfer window coming up. We'll do a little bit of a preview as to players who may be leaving us in that window. Let's get into it. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Hexagon Challenge here on Shaun Does FM. I hope you are doing well. If you are new to the channel or looking forward to today's video, then please do hit that thumbs up down below. Also subscribe to the channel and turn that notification bell on so you guys do not miss out on any content, and it helps out with all that YouTube algorithm stuff and is greatly appreciated. So in yesterday's episode, we finished our Europa League group stage run with a 2-2 draw against Rangers. If you have not gone and watched the episode, then go check it out, because we did run through the other teams who are going to be entering the knockout phases of the Europa League. We're not sure who we're playing yet, as we are going to be entering in the second knockout round, so we've got to wait to see who progresses from the first knockout round before we can crack into that. But just the one game since then, and we can't show you guys any highlights because it was a 0-0 draw, which means we're getting a lot of orange showing up, and it's getting a bit frustrating, to be honest. So hopefully we can turn that around today. It was against Lille away, so not a bad team to draw against. But we'll just have a quick look at the stats for this match, and you'll see why I'm frustrated, because we had 24 shots, 10 on target, and Lille had 4 shots, 1 on target, and somehow we haven't scored a goal there. I don't know how we changed the tempo down from extremely high to high late, and that didn't help either. We were just taking shots from a bit too far out and from bad angles, really, so it was a frustrating performance all round in a game that we did absolutely dominate, but we have nothing to show for it. As you can see, that means we've now drawn 3 of our last 4 games and 4 of our last 7, with quite a few of those draws coming in Ligue 1. So what that does mean is that PSG have stolen a little bit of a march on us thanks to those draws, and of course that loss we had to them earlier in the season, our only loss so far in Ligue 1. They are 3 points clear of us heading into this final day pre the new year, and we've got a 7-point gap on today's opponent in Stade Brestois. Obviously we want to win this game to hopefully keep up with PSG if they happen to drop points, and also it gives us a bit more of a cushion as well on the teams in that sort of 4th down bracket who are chasing us from that sort of Europa League section at the moment, because we definitely want to be in the Champions League next season. If we don't do that, I might be looking at a new job, I think it is fair to say. So going into today's game, we've got the same sort of injuries as we were carrying from the last game, so not much to cover there. And off the back of this game, we will have a little bit of a look at players who are attracting some interest. I did mention a few of them in yesterday's episode, but we'll go over them again as a few more clubs are coming in for some of my players in terms of media speculation wise anyway, and putting those news stories out that they're interested in signing them. So could be an interesting transfer window. We don't really have a budget to bring any players in with what we've already got, so we'd have to sell if we were going to bring any more players in, but there is the chance that we could make some big money from selling a few players. So we will come back to you guys when the TV coverage starts. The last Ligue 1 game of the first half of the season at the Stade Louis II, Monaco versus Brest, second versus third. Okay, we have TV coverage for this. Here is our lineup. What you would expect, the only change is that Nianzou is out with a suspension, so Sevillano comes in at centre-back for him. We've switched him and Tapsoba around sidewise. There is the Stade Brestois team, a team who are overachieving compared to what they should be doing season preview-wise. Not a lot of names there that are overly worth mentioning, but they seem to be doing a very good job this season, so we definitely have to respect them. They are in the dark blue. We are in our home uniform, the white and the red, and kicking off playing right to left, and hopefully we can pick up a win. It would just make a bit of a gap between the top 2 and the rest, and then sort of, as you can see by that league table, it would definitely help just keep that gap up nicely and keep us hopefully in a title race with PSG, albeit maybe we'll have to wait till next season for that to happen. But either way, if we lose this game, it's not a disaster, but it's not great either. I'd rather not draw the way we're going at the moment. So a win would be nice, but a draw's not the end of the world either. As Henrique makes his way into the box, he keeps possession somehow. Ampadu with a shot, a wonderful dribbling run there from Flavio Henrique. Ball fell for Ampadu, but it took a good save from the Brest keeper, and they keep it to 0-0 in the 10th minute, and Dembele has a corner put in. Tapsoba hits the bar with his header. Two good early chances, still 0-0 after 12 minutes. Free kick to Brest in the 14th minute. They take it short and look to play out from the back. They boot one long, Tapsoba heads it out to Gali, and hopefully we can get something going in our half here as he makes his way in towards the box. It's a tackle, there's no penalty there, fair enough, and Bui Chung Trong, I think his name is, the Australian forward for them, who is having a decent season. He gets something going. Dembele hits the post with a long shot. Wasn't expecting much to come from that, but some good early chances for us. Still 0-0. Free kick in the 43rd minute. It's been very quiet so far, but there's a goal. Tapsoba heads one in. As I said, since that Dembele strike hit the post, we haven't actually hit a highlight, but overall stat-wise, we have been dominating the game, and we get a free kick right before half-time. Tapsoba running on the far post heads that into the top left-hand corner, and we've snuck a 1-0 lead right before half-time, and we now have a goal kick with 1 minute of added time to play. Sevillano boots that clear to Gali on a yellow card. He'll pump one forward to Mulder on the left wing, up from left back. He takes his defender out towards the sideline. Back to Agume in a bit of space. Gowrie in a bit of space too, but his shot straight at the keeper from an angle. He was well positioned there, the keeper, and that will be half-time. Not many highlights, but we did get a goal late on through Tapsoba from a free kick taken by Dembele, headed that top left corner, but not a lot of highlights, as I said, but stats-wise you can see how I kind of felt that we deserved that lead, and we also hit the woodwork twice as well, so we did have a pretty good half with our chances, and we take a 1-0 lead into the second half. I'll tell them that they have played well, but there's still room for improvement because we definitely could be doing a little bit more. Most of the boys actually seem motivated after that talk, so we'll just continue telling them we believe they've got what it takes. Now, Flavio Henrique's having a little bit of a stinker today, it's fair to say, 6.5, as is Mulder. So I think what we're going to do, because we've been good without seeing the world on fire in this game, I think it's fair to say, not many highlights. We'll bring Rodrigo Macedo on for Henrique, a bit of a downgrade, but we'll give him a chance while Quintero is still out with that injury, and also Alvaro Fernandez for Mulder, as he has done quite well when we've given him the opportunity so far this season. And we'll get into the second half. Hopefully we can keep this 1-0 lead, and it will be Brest kicking off, playing right to left as they... Let's see if they can get anything going early on. Throw into Monaco, 58th minute, so a quite quiet game highlight-wise, it's fair to say. They clear it out to Ampadu, but we do keep possession and get it forward to Tessier. Back to Puig, who's a bit up and down at the moment. Oh dear, this looks bad. Ampadu, I think, is getting a red card here, and he is. Okay, this is interesting. Honestly, I don't know if I'm going to do much here, because he was a CDM. We'll still have two midfielders. I think we might just leave things as they are here, guys. It's a bit frustrating. It does give us a little bit less in the midfield, but yeah, no, I think we'll leave things as they are here. I don't think there's much point. We might just put a Agume on a deep line playmaker, defend maybe, so he's just dropping a little bit further in behind. We can always have Puig, he's on that advanced playmaker, so hopefully those two will work okay with each other, but it's a little bit frustrating. But half an hour to go. I'm hoping our boys are good enough to hold on. Yeah, not good from the Welsh was at that time, and it will be Brest with an early chance to make us pay for that extra man advantage that they do have. Macon getting into the final third. His effort is blocked though, trying to put a ball in the box, although we boot it clear straight out to a Brest player, which is frustrating. Puig with a good slide tackle, blocking now Dembele. Can we get something on the counter attack here? He will sort out Gali. I think this effort's going to be blocked. Indeed it is. So not much happening there. It's still 1-0 after an hour. 63rd minute, we get possession after Brest try and get something going down that left-hand side. Out to Agume. And out to Fernandez. A second goal would be very nice here, just to create a cushion, especially with that man less than Brest now, thanks to Ampadu's red card. Agume just holding things up. I should really be slowing the tempo down here, actually. Tessier, long ball out to Gauli. Here's a shot. Good save from Lakiopi. And they keep it to 1-0. And that is the highlight. What we're going to do here actually is, I won't go very defensive because yuck. What we will do is we'll just slow the tempo down a bit here. I think we might actually play the lower tempo, shorter passing, a bit of time wasting. We're not going to go defensive because I like how we play when we're positive, and I don't think that's going to change too much. But we've got to be a bit careful here, don't we, as we try and hold on to this 1-0 lead with 25 minutes to go. And it is Brest on the ball in the 66th minute, although Sevillano with a good tackle tries to hoof one forward to Mercado, heads that back to Dembele, and maybe we can get something going here. Dembele inching his way in the box, putting a cross in, it is blocked. It will go out for a corner though, and we will see it. Dembele takes those corners quite quickly, headed out to Puig, into Fernandez, tight angle, it's a shot, and it hits the post, I believe, so another woodwork shot, still 1-0 with 22 to go. And we've got a red heart on Amin Ghali, who is also carrying a yellow card, and we definitely do not want another player off the field. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring Gabriel Fernandez on for him. Just that change, 20 minutes to go, 1-0 up, but with 10 men. Goal kick to Brest, they booed it long. Hopefully we can get on the end of this. We can't, and Bar's in a bit of space here. Oh, Munoz in lots of it, but Gordon with a good save. And we get away with that chance, still 1-0 with 15 to go. Another goal kick here to Brest. We're in the final 10 minutes now. Lakiopi boots it long. We're just looking a bit short heading-wise, although Fernandez will find the other Fernandez there. I was going to call them the brothers Fernandez, but of course they're from different countries, so that's not going to make a lot of sense. Fernandez does win us a corner though, which is going to be very nice. And hopefully we can get something from this. Dembele to whip it in quickly again. Taps over just over the bar. Tried to get it a second, but not quite on target. Still 1-0 as we enter the final stages. And we now have a throw-in, and the Fernandez's link up again. Putting a ball across with Tessier. He might have a long-range effort. Finds Dembele, surely. Oh, he just had to play Mercado in there, you'd think. Now, he played. That is a terrible pass. Hopefully that was a block cross, because otherwise I don't know what Dembele was doing there, albeit we now are really entering late. We have a throw-in in the final minute. Tessier tries to find Dembele, can't, but we do keep possession. Oh, Dembele, a nice space. The ball is cleared and we get possession. We've got 40 seconds to hold on. Sevillano playing that forward for Tessier, and hopefully we can just knock the ball around nicely and keep possession. Fernandez, good stuff. Taps over. Let's just close this out, boys. Nothing silly. A bit of a dull game, it's fair to say, but when we're down a man for the last half hour, we'll take it, as Alvaro Fernandez tries to put the ball, and we will have a corner, and that is nice. Hopefully that sucks up the rest of the clock. As Dembele taking a bit more time over that corner, puts it in, taps over, heads it over the bar. It's a goal kick. Will the referee blow full time? Yes, he will, and we cling on for a 1-0 win despite having a red card at the 58th minute. Ethan Ampadu getting sent off, but it was all thanks to a tap-sober goal from a Dembele free kick in the 43rd minute that we've picked up that win. And as I said, not a great game. Shots-wise, we definitely dominated it, even possession-wise. So, yeah, we probably deserved that, but a little bit closer than you'd like. And we look at the Brest ratings there in case you are interested. 5 at the back. So, my history with this formation, this is one that 5 at the back formation does tend to nerf it a bit. So, to be honest, that's actually not a bad result for us. Now I look at that again, and especially with that extra man, I'm surprised I didn't throw a few more men forward, considering we had one less defensive midfielder. But yeah, their loss and our win, and that will give us a nice little gap between second and third, and we'll see what PSG did as well. Last time I checked, they were at 0-0, so it'll be interesting to see what happened there. I suppose we'll say it was a good win thanks to that red card, and unfortunately PSG did get a goal against Bordeaux, as you would expect they were. Bordeaux really struggling this year, down in 17th. And Mbappe was able to get them a crucial goal in the 57th minute. But what that win does do is we've got a 10-point gap on Brest now, which is nice. That should do us well in securing an automatic group spot in the Champions League and not having to go through any qualification should our form continue to be decent enough to hold that 10-point gap, which you'd hope in it. We're not completely out of the title race. 3 points. If we're able to beat PSG in the second half of the season, then that will negate that, and hopefully we stop this annoying little habit of dropping points to teams that we really shouldn't be. But we're also in a really good position to not be in the Europa League. We've got a 14-point gap, and unless we fall off a cliff or get a ridiculous amount of injuries, and you'd think we're going to be playing Champions League football next season, which is nice to say at this stage of the season, as long as that doesn't come back and bite me. We'll probably get a terrible run of injuries now or something. It's bound to happen. And Ampadu I don't think I'm going to be appealing against that, to be fair. And what that does mean now is we can have a look at this squad and look at the players who might be leaving us in the transfer window. I'm not actively looking to sell any of these guys, but if a good offer comes in, it might be hard to reject it, especially if it's from a big club. So Francisco Sevillano, who is, to be honest, our backup centre-back, wanted by Everton. Depending on how much they came in for him, maybe we'd look at selling him, but honestly, he's a player who's 22 years old. He's a good youngster. I'm not actively looking at selling him, and I think we can argue that we're on an equal level as Everton in terms of our stature in the overall world game with our club here at Monaco. So I think he's a player that, unless the money is ridiculous that gets offered for him, I don't think we're going to be selling. Now, we'll go back down to the next wanted. Lucien Agume. This is one that could become a problem because he is wanted by Barcelona, and I think it's fair to say Barcelona are bigger than us. They are in the Champions League. Yeah, he might be a difficult one to keep hold of. You can see that he's not got any negatives yet, and we are one of his favoured personnel, so we might be able to keep him, but I don't know, if the offer comes in, that might change, and it is Barcelona. He's valued at 97 million. I think the rumoured offer would be somewhere around the $140 million mark New Zealand, so we could definitely get a good midfielder in for that if we go to our scouting and look at the players who would be interested in joining us in the midfield. Look, we could get someone like David Ayala in, but he is Argentinian, so you have the foreign spot problem. He's definitely the best option available. In terms of the money we'd get, we're probably looking at someone like an Orkon Koku to come in, who would do a good job for us. He's playing box-to-box midfielder, so we'll just highlight those stats. You can see he's pretty well sorted in most of the areas. Tackling and positioning, not great, but he does look a good option at the very least. Ricky Puig's still not really, he's a bit up and down, hasn't got a great rating, so that if we got the money in, look, we'd have to replace Agume, so he'll be an option to replace him, and otherwise we might be able to afford someone like a Sander Berger, but he's getting to 29 these days, the Norwegian, but if you look at his stats, he's probably a bit better off in the all-rounded category compared to Koku, so that might be one we go for. Currently at Inter Milan, the Norwegian. And then you're looking at the likes of Danny Olmo, Sandro Tonali. So there's options down here that we could go for, but it's fair to say that if we do sell Agume, we're going to be spending a lot of that money on a replacement for him because he is our best midfielder, and behind that, with all due respect to the likes of Koulibaly and Stamanik, it would be nice to keep that sort of quality in the squad. The only way that Ayala could probably come in is if if one of our other players got sold who was counted as a foreigner, and that could happen, but that would probably be the only way that would take place. And if we go down to the next player with a wanted sign next to them, this guy's a foreigner, so this could be the way it works. Flavio Henrique, he is wanted by lots of clubs. It started off with just Real Madrid and Arsenal. Not too worried about Arsenal because they're not doing much in this save, but Southampton are not doing as much as they were last year, so I'm confident against them, but the rest of the clubs, barring Hertha on this list, so Liverpool, Tottenham, Milan, and of course Real Madrid, if they came in with a bid for him, which, I mean, you look at him, he is an absolute stud, this guy, especially when you put him up front. Yeah, they'll probably come in for him, and we could get some serious money for this guy. I actually am tempted to try and get near the 200 million for this guy, but if he wants to leave, we're going to be in a difficult spot, albeit we do have some good backups at the club already. We've got Quintero once he gets back from injury. We've got Macedo, who is not a terrible bench option. And we've also already signed some youngsters on cheap deals to come in the upcoming window, which we'll get to in a second. So that might be an area where we might get away with just promoting Quintero, but it'll be a shame if we lose him. He has been so good for us. And in terms of his morale and his happiness, we're on his favoured personnel list. He isn't too worried about the stuff yet in terms of transfer-wise, so we might be able to keep hold of him, but as I said, if like a Madrid or a Liverpool came in, then that might be a struggle without a shadow of a doubt. So that's another player who, if the right amount of money came in, despite how goddamn good he is, we might be struggling. And then you get to some French players, Alvaro Fernandez. I mean, if the money was ridiculous, we could ship him out. He is European, but we could definitely bring in a backup left back, I think, of that quality for around that price if we needed to. Mamadou Koulibaly in midfield. Again, depending on the money, he is 28 years old, so it could be a good time to cash in on him if Porto came in with the right amount of money. So That's another one that, could happen, because in terms of bench options, we've still got Loftus-Cheek and Stamanik who can come on to the bench. So I don't know if we're going to be losing a lot there if that offer did come in. And in terms of the rest, I don't think there's actually anyone else who is on the wanted list. Or there are actually. So we've got Anthony Herver, who is homegrown at the club. So I'm probably not going to be looking at selling him. However, since that first Europa League registration window, Musa Kamara is now homegrown, so we could, if a right offer came in, Lazio after him, it would have to be a pretty good offer. He hasn't got a great deal of potential, so you will see about him. He's, if the right amount of money comes in, maybe. Pascal Angelini, he is wanted by Inter for transfer and Reims for loan. He's really only going to be a backup, and he's down to 2 stars. He was 2.5 star earlier, so maybe we look to loan him, but he's a player I definitely want to keep at the club with that potential ability. So Inter would have to come in with a ridiculously good offer for me to consider selling him. And the other player with a wanted sticker, David Aquavida, but that is on loan, and he's actually good enough to be hanging around the first team. I haven't used him much this season so far, but fair to say if the right sort of offer came in for Sevillano, then maybe he's a player who could step up to the first team, a player who we only bought in this summer transfer window. In terms of what we could do if Henrique did leave, because I just realised I didn't bring it up, money's probably not an issue in terms of it, so keep that in mind. It's players who are actually interested in coming here who we can afford. This guy would be amazing, but I don't think we're going to get him. Dortmund don't want to sell him, and I think Madrid are also after him, so hopefully Madrid go after this guy instead of Henrique, because that might make my life easier. You can see reasonably similar. He's exceptional in the advanced forward role. He would be actually the ideal signing, but I think he's a bit expensive. Toby Yates, a Liverpool youngster. Look, he looks decent, but he's English, so I think he counts as a non-EU, which is a bit frustrating, albeit Henrique is also a non-EU, so if we did a like-for-like change there, then it wouldn't be the end of the world. Ursin Deniz, I mean, he looks a bit Mikado-like, so I don't know if that's worth getting in. Raul Moro from Spurs, they want too much money for him. I mean, Rafael Leao, Portuguese, he's on the older side. It's like trying to find a replacement for Flavio Henrique is going to be quite difficult. Patson Daka, again on the older side, and they probably want too much. Nico Serrano, more of a winger. Like, his finishing's not great. You got Jovic, who, to be fair, probably is the best finishing out of any of these players I'm looking to get, but just not quite as good physically as some of these other guys, especially the ones that we've had in the squad. Brenner's going to be wanting too much, and then you're sort of dropping in quality slightly, albeit, as I said, we could make Quintero the first option, and then we could bring someone as a backup, and then we could look in this sort of range, maybe the Celo Wingert, who is a good Brazilian striker over at Club Brugge, actually, so that could be an option. And also the likes of Kevin Hughes from Tottenham. He is Irish, so would actually sneak in as a EU player, but again, you look at his technicals, and no, he's not as good as Henrique, so we'd have to have a good think if we're going to sell Henrique about what to do. We'd probably perhaps be bringing in someone to fill that gap between Quintero and Mikado, just so we do have some good options at striker. And before we cut today's episode off, we will show you guys who is coming. And we have made a few deals for some players on the cheap. That was the goalkeeper that we signed in the summer, who isn't going to be joining us until the end of this season. We, of course, bought Sao Jae-min, and at the last window, he is going to be joining us this upcoming window from the Pohang Steelers in South Korea. Striker-wise, look, he's actually not bad. Use a bit of work for it with his physicals, but at only 18, you'd hope that we can improve those. So, look, I think that's a decent transfer. So, he's an option to perhaps come in and replace. I've just noticed that we've actually already signed 3 strikers, so we might not actually need to if we did end up selling Flavio Henrique. We've got Pedro Castro, a Peruvian striker who we are going to get in. Role and duty-wise, he's not great there, but you look at the stats, he actually does look quite suited. He's got decent pace, decent dribbling, finishing, first touch. His decisions are good determination. For 1.5 million, he's worth a punt, I think. Anyway, we've also just recently got Clement Mashego in for 1.6 million, a South African from Supersport United. Again, more of a striker. His finishing could use work. Very quick, though. So, in that sort of way, he is going to be very Henrique-like. Just need to get these up a little bit. They're more players for the future, those 3, but if we had to, I think they'd do a decent job for us in the first team. So we'll see what happens. I'm not entirely sure about this transfer window. And in terms of the transfer budget, we have got 40 million, but you have to remember when we first came into the club, exactly a year ago now, I believe it is, we did spend big money on Tessier and Mercado. We've got to do instalment payments for those two, 30 million for Tessier this upcoming window, and I believe it was 10 for Mercado, so we're going to have to change that around, and we don't really have any spare money unless those player sales do occur. So it's going to be a bit of wait and see in terms of the players who come in or do not in this upcoming transfer window. So before we do this wrap up of today's episode, we'll just guess when we're going to be coming back. Now, we have got our Coupe de France first game coming up, but that is against a Championship National team, so a couple of divisions below us, and we should really be winning that. We play Lyon in the first episode of this season, so I think what we might do, we might actually wait until Limes, who are currently 6th, that is an away game, should be fairly similar in quality to Lyon, and we'll be getting towards the end of the transfer window then as well. So I think what we'll do is we'll come back for that one and see how we're getting on after our first two Ligue 1 games of the second half of the season, and hopefully also we should still be in the Coupe de France. If we lose that game, that will be a bit embarrassing, albeit I'm probably going to put a rotated team out for that one, just looking at the quality of the opposition. So if you did enjoy today's episode, a bit of a dull game against Brest, but we picked up a 1-0 win to hold on to second in Ligue 1 going into the second half of the season. And please do leave a thumbs up down below. Let us know what sort of money you'd be willing to, let us know the amount of money that you would be having to receive to part ways with Agumi and Enrique. As I said, I'm probably looking somewhere around that $140 to $200 million New Zealand mark, so half that for pound value if you're up in England. Please subscribe to the channel and turn that notification bell if you have not done so already and enjoyed the content. It is greatly appreciated and keeps you guys in the loop, and I will see you for that Reims game where we will also do a transfer window roundup, unless something big happens transfer-wise before then. So tentatively it's the Reims game, but we'll see how we get on. And until I see you next, enjoy the rest of your day. Cheers.